Hey, it's Not the Auction Professor. Today I'm going to shoot out another BOLO, and it's something that I look for, and I've talked about it in other categories or other BOLO videos, but specifically celluloid items in general, whether they're printed material, advertising material, toys, celluloid in general. Once you can tell the difference between celluloid and plastic, you're going to do much better. Celluloid is a vintage type of like a pulpy plastic type material. It's been around for a long time, since the 1800s. 19th century. So again, they do sell for some good money. We've sold some celluloid pieces of just printed like bookmarks and things for $400 or $500 in the past. You're not going to find it all the time, but it doesn't take much to earn a good chunk to add to your bottom lines. But we're going to go to the screen and we're going to talk about celluloid items in general. Okay, so celluloid. Now, celluloid's a vintage type of plastic, basically. I've just picked some random items. People just collect celluloid, no matter what it is. I've seen collectors that just have massive amounts of celluloid. There's some that obviously collect the separate areas that the stuff is found in. Like this is a celluloid radio horn for like a record player or something along that line. Now these stand alone and a wire would come to this, as you can see, and the sound would just play out of here, so you could put these anywhere. It's like a speaker of the day. I've got a couple of them just to show you. They're not super rare. They do show up, and they do show up in good condition. You just have to know where to look. This is like a music specific item. $1,626, basically $1,627. That's a lot of money, you know, $1,600 for something like that. Toys wise, now Popeye's the celluloid, and so is the other figure, Brutus, I guess it would be, or Bluto, I'm sorry. This is basically $1,700. It's a Marx. It's an early one. It's a unique piece, so to speak. They do show up like this, so it's not like you're not going to find stuff. But again, you're going to pay some money to get it either way. So we got this one here too. This is like a blotter. It's celluloid on one side, and then it would be paper on the other. It was just glued to it, as you can see. Actually, that's a cover to it, so it's got many blotters under it. Rather unique piece. Had it just been the front piece, it would have sold as a card or something like that. So anyway, Whitehead Hogue made a lot of like fraternal items and buttons and collectibles, even some that went in cereal like Pep and things like that. All celluloid too. So anyway, $62. Here's an amber one, another speaker basically, $1,243. Now these are what I see a lot of. I've got a video coming out shortly on just pinback buttons, but it's multi-category items that are the most interested. This is a bar, it's travel, it's considered a token as well because it's good for money on the back. And it's a pocket mirror. So this one covers 4 or 5 areas. It could be considered an Oklahoma collectible, a travel collectible, advertising, you know, a promotional with the trade token aspect of it, and pocket mirrors. So, I mean, there's just a ton of collectibles for this one. $793 because of the girl on the face of it, basically. It's advertising a not so great, like a CD bar, I guess you would say. $793 with 19 bids. Another celluloid mirror. This one's for a car motor manufacturer, Rutenberg Motor Company. So again, very scarce items. Celluloid, though, what I always look for. I don't care what's on it. Usually if it's celluloid, it's going to be worth something. $787 on this one. Let's see here. Votes for Women. Now, this is another pinback. Anything that says Votes for Women is worth money. So, Women's Political Union. So, this is a political piece. This is a women's movement piece. This is an advertising piece. This is a pinback button. You know, it's just got several areas this could go into. $717.99. So, if that gives you an idea. And these are small items. These show up, you know, in big boxes. This is only an inch across. That's why these are missed so often. Celluloid knot or Pluto, rather interesting. This one still has the tag, so that one's a big plus. I would say that's all legit to it. $950 on this one. Meet Me at People's Outfitting Company. This is an advertising one. Early 1890, $686. It advertises and it's got Santa Claus. The way to tell how old these are, when you see the pin stick out past the back of the button, those are usually 1910 or before. I don't remember the exact date, but at one point they were deemed unsafe, and they had a requirement that the pin had to be unable to stick past the outside of the actual button itself. So that is one deciding factor. But $686 with 14 bids. Celluloid. Now this one shows celluloid. These are usually really light, really thin, blown pieces, cast pieces, not solid. I've almost never run into one solid. This one will probably be a little more heavyweight than some of the other ones. It probably has a weight in it so it can rock back and forth. But any type of toy or holiday ornament you can find jewelry, Christmas ornaments, Halloween, Valentine's, whatever you can think of, anything that they would have promoted, a business card, a credit card, a bookmark, Christmas cards in general. There's even postcards that are celluloid, bookmarks, just you name it. I mean, tape measures are another big one. Corkscrews, pocket knives have celluloid handles and things. Just like this one. This one is a tape measure. Now, this is a typical figure-roll tape measure made out of celluloid. Show up quite often, things like this. Usually have some discoloration. Damage-wise, they still might sell. This one's $749. Basically $750. Another one, you can look for mahjong sets. They show up quite often. It's got the scoring pieces on the side, and it looks like a full, decent set of them, actually. It says French ivory, but it's just celluloid. And you can usually tell. Celluloid has like an ivory-type pattern in it sometimes as well, too. So that's why it comes into play like that. But you can also find carved celluloid pieces and figures made out of carved celluloid where they'd cast a big block of it and then they'd carve chess pieces I've seen carved out of celluloid. This is a jointed doll. It would have been done just like the plastic ones of the day, hard plastic, modern plastic. Even the rubber ones were made the same way. This one's just jointed and colored. And this one, I've seen several versions of this one as well, too. And this one you will find occasionally. You might spend a couple $100 on it, but you can see you can still flip it for a good amount of money, depending on the value and what you paid for it. Santa Claus. Now, these show up, too. This is a lighted one. A lot of people miss these because they don't realize it's celluloid on some of these. This is an early one, like 50s or so. Celluloid was still cheap in one aspect of it, and they could be used to blow mold style stuff too. So 610 on this one, probably late 50s. And it was big too. So here's another celluloid piece. This is carved, and I would say that's carved by hand. And then somebody's drilled in the holes for the actual rhinestones. $600. So it doesn't matter celluloid or not. It's usually translucent, and you can kind of see the back side where the jewels are, the rhinestones on this one. So anyway, that one's a pretty good one. More of these roly-poly. It's meant to wobble around. It basically looks like a Weeble. It's usually two pieces. There's usually a ball or something on the bottom that keeps the weight to it. At least most all the ones I've seen. And I've seen dozens and dozens of these. $584.74 on this one. And I've talked about corkscrews and several things. Again, cross-category item. It's a corkscrew. It's celluloid. Those are 2 categories. It's got a mermaid. That's 3, fantasy style. And, you know, there's maker-wise, too. It's made in Germany, so it's got at least 3 categories this can go into. It's rather interesting. It's rather nice. These are the type of items you see. And there's pocket knives that have the same mermaid on it that are celluloid as well, too. $561 on that one. $538 on this. It's a candy container, I do believe. Let's see, is it a candy container? No, this is another roly-poly. It was made just to wobble on the table. Jack-o'-lantern man, JOL. That's what JOL stands for. You will see many different types of jack-o'-lantern men in postcards-wise. Just type in JOL on postcards, and you'll see tons of them. Anything you can see in a postcard, you can see in a toy just as easily, so... Or even a postcard that you could see they made into Christmas ornaments or wall decorations or lights or whatever the case may be. There's some Christmas bulbs that are made similar to some of these roly-polies. Halloween light bulbs made like this too. But again, $538. Another pin. Santa Claus always sells these, especially like the Citizens Trust. It's early. Look at the pins sticking out past the back. Usually there's a paper label on the back of a lot of these that say who made it. Whitehoe and Haig made a lot of them. Those are just ones I usually see. $516 with 16 bids. Another toy. You know, there's thousands of different toys made out of celluloid. It has celluloid with metal, and it'll probably have some string on this one here. This was a scarcer one, $650 on this one. It's a pull toy as well. Those usually seem to go for more money because they're usually bigger pieces.
Another celluloid, back to the Mahjong tile. And you can see the lines in it, making it look kind of like ivory. That's what it was actually still used in jewelry for, to recreate ivory pieces when ivory couldn't be used. And it can be carved and, disguised as Bakelite as well, too. So $8.75 on this one. This one has the Mahjong affiliation, so that's why this one probably would have sold the best. Box toy. I was going to say that's a Marks, but you can see it's even marked Marks on it. And Marks, well, do they have a blow up? Yeah, you can see the Marks logo down there. Lewis Marks and Company. And they made 2 of these, Wilma. They might even made 4 of these now that I think about it. Because Barney and I think they made his wife as well, too. So anyway, $2.99. A lot of people would think some of these go for more, but it's not a well-collected one. It doesn't look really nice. Box is a little beat up. It's just not a popular toy like a Disney one would be. $300 is still a good price, though, mind you. Half of that's probably in the box. Mickey Mouse celluloid, Convert, and again, same company as the other one you'll see. People use these just as statuary, so it's not really a toy. That's why you'd still see the label on it. $545. Army men were made in celluloid too. These are a little harder to tell for some people, but they're light, and that usually is a dead giveaway. They've got wires inside, so the arms are movable. You can see some that the wiring's, bent out and stuff. There's ways to fix that if you're careful. People actually can replace those as well if they're damaged. But anyway, that's what we got in that one. $250 basically. I don't find those every day. This is another oddball item. Now, a lot of people thought these were cake, like a cake thing, but these are actually made to sit on a spindle on a record player, and it would spin and dance, and it would, move around while it spun. And there's tons of these different ones. A lot of people will miscategorize them as a cake topper too, but any of these German ones like that, you'll see that's not a West German mark. That's just a German marking of some sort. So 20s is probably legit. $185 basically. Now, I've showed some of these in hauls way back when. The standard ones, the ones without the pink on them, go for like $20, maybe even less than that in some of them. But the pink one here with the little white polka dots is very unusual. So the typical ones, 5 to 20. This one's 100 plus. Any one of the pink ones I usually see. Now, if it's a pink dog or something, a different story, they don't go for as much. But this is a Christmas item, so that's why this one specifically goes for more money. Coca-Cola celluloid bookmark. There's probably 10 or 15 versions of this, and you can see the lines again, like ivory. Any of these bookmarks, not just Coke, but there's 1,000 or more different types of celluloid bookmarks, and most of them are worth money. The Coke one's worth more. It advertises 5 cents in the whole work. Most of these are dated, too, if it says Coke. I don't remember if you can find a date on this one. It's a known piece, though, so it's $480 for that one. There's an earlier version from the 1889 or something like that, I want to say, that goes in the same range, if not more. But anyway, here's a menu, just a small menu. They would have been done so that they would have lasted and they could have washed them. So that's why you might see some out of this. And that's just the cover, basically, on this one. The insides are usually made out of paper, but not always. $229.99. Then we go into some paper items and other things in a second here. Again, tape measures. There's a ton of different types of tape measures. These go back to the 1890s. $188.51. I've shown some in haul. So, I see the tape measures are very common to run across for fairly a reasonable amount where you can get maybe $5 or $10 for something like this. If you didn't know, you might not spend that on it, but this logo was used on trade cards by many companies. So again, they rehashed whatever they could. There's mirrors with that same logo and image on it too. So now here's a game counter. Columbus Carriage Company. This stuff shows up. You will find it on like letterheads, envelopes, postcards, trade cards, and advertising print material as well too. So $125. This is a fairly common style of thing you will see, like a counter for, like a tally card even for a bridge or something. Here's a little spinner advertisement. It made to sit on a table, and you could just spin it. 4 gold medals. It's Harper's Whiskey, I.W. Harper. Not a ton of stuff from I.W. Harper that's worth money, but we run into labels and advertising postcards and things, or a bottle here and there. $113.61 because it's celluloid, and it's a hand. And I've showed many hands similar to this. I'm looking at one on a shelf right now even. Credit cards. Now I'm going to credit cards specifically because they do show up, and most people wouldn't know that's what this is. But that number is a customer number, and then they would literally be able to just charge it by that with holding up the card. It was a trust factor. If somebody had the card, they could have charged on it. $119. And the last time's just another card like that. And this is usually all it was. It showed a picture of the building, and then a name, and then just a number. And that was usually all you would see. And just like I said before, Whitehead and Hogue is who made this. They were a huge manufacturer of advertising material, mostly celluloid, but they did metal pinback buttons and other items as well. Metal items and badges and medals and commentary items and fraternal, as I said, as well too. But that's what I have. Again, I'm going to touch on some of these areas as well. This would be a celluloid collector. This would be a advertising collector. This would be a charge card collector, trade card collector as well, because this is kind of like a trade card. So multi-category items. You list in one category. You don't pay for multiple categories, but as long as it has multiple category interests, you can move it around as time goes by. If it doesn't sell right away, just keep a lookout on the item. Research it. Always research it. So that's what I have.
Well, that's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button down below. You can also click the bell icon to be notified when we post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.